Hey guys, I'm Jennifer, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about an essay called Self-Reliance. It was written by Ralph Waldo Emerson. At the beginning of your handout, I put a quote that I thought was very interesting up there. But just letting you know a little bit about Emerson, he went to college at Harvard University, and he was kind of known as almost a teacher. He had a lot of lectures, and that's where most of his essays came from. And he also was part of the Transcendentalist movement in the mid-19th century. All right, let's dig a little deeper into the Self-Reliance essay. Well, first off, it was published in a book called Essays that was, the first edition was released in 1841. I really like the main topic of this entire essay as a whole. It was about believing in yourself and being your own individual. The essay was actually divided up into 3 sections. The first one was the importance of self. The second was self-reliance in the individual, and the third was self-reliance in society. And I really like how Emerson broke it down into pieces so you could understand each section. As I was doing some research, I saw in a self-reliance overview that there were 2 main topics that discourage people from being their own person. The first was society's disapproval, and the second was foolish consistency. And Emerson was very outspoken on how he didn't think that it was necessary to be consistent with everything. Alright, let's talk about some of the effects that came from the self-reliant essay. I like how Emerson described that when you're a self-reliant person, you're not relying on everybody else around you, you're gonna have different perspectives on not only religion, but you're gonna have it on education, you will on social interaction, and your pursuit of material goods. And I really like that there are so many ways that it can affect your life. Emerson also talked about how when you're self-reliant, you're going to have so many goals in life that there's never really going to be enough time possible in your lifetime to accomplish all of them. But because you're going to seem so brilliant and so wise and have so much knowledge, people are going to want to follow in your footsteps. Emerson compared self-reliant people. He talked about how brilliant they are, and he mentioned Plato, and he mentioned Milton, and he mentioned Moses, about how they were great people, and other people wanted to follow in their footsteps because they had so much knowledge that they could just share with everybody. And I really like that. As I was doing some more research, I found a quote from Moss and Wilson talking about religion, and it was, "To exist with God, each of us must live fully in the present moment and listen for Him." And that's basically saying that you need to obviously live in the moment, and you need to just be aware, and you need to know when it's time to listen and whenever it's time to do other things. And I really liked that. That really stuck out to me. I thought it would be appropriate for me to give my own personal opinion on this essay. I really thought that it was very well put together, and I think that it was obvious that Emerson spent a lot of time and effort putting it together. My favorite part was definitely how being self-reliant can change your perspective on things and change you in your personal life. Although I did like that essay, I did notice as I was reading an article by Norvell that Emerson seems to contradict himself a few times throughout his essay by saying that we need to follow in our own footsteps and make our own footsteps, but at the same time, he was telling us to follow in people's footsteps like Moses and Plato and Milton. And it's almost like he was trying to set a standard for his readers that he couldn't follow himself, because he was always referring to other people. In conclusion, putting all thoughts of contradiction aside, I think this essay was very well put together, and I really loved the way Emerson had described everything. I really think that people in society, especially young people, they need to read this essay, and they need to understand that they should follow in their own footsteps. They should be their own person. They should stick out in society. They should not have to sit here and worry about having somebody else get credit for some kind of opinion that they had a while back, and that they had something like an opinion that they've had for a long time, but they just never had the courage to bring it up and to mention it. So they're watching somebody else get credit for it whenever that's something that they could have gotten credit for themselves. And it's almost like when that happens, when you see somebody getting credit for something that you thought, it makes your opinions and your thoughts seem inferior to theirs, and you should never feel like that. Your opinions are just as important as theirs are.